Hey, what's up guys? Rob here, and I'm kind of making this quick video for a couple of reasons. Really the main reason is I haven't found a damn thing about gaming to really talk about. The last couple of days I've been working on my Metroid Other M Let's Play, which, people seem to like, and I'm really enjoying doing that. It's not, of course, news related, which is really what I like to do the most on Rule of Two Review. And there just has been nothing as far as news or anything going on that seems exciting, at least to me personally, that I felt inspired to make a video about, discussing my thoughts on a news piece. But the other thing is, there is a news story that I do want to talk about, and it's movie related, which, as I've said, I want to do more movie related things going forward. I am working on a couple other videos right now. I'm working on my top 10 most anticipated games for 2015 upcoming, which is going to be really cool. I'm very excited about that. I'm working on a review for The Hobbit Battle of the Five Armies, which I just saw last night. Spoiler alert, it's amazing, but I don't want to get too detailed about that now. I'll be talking about that soon. And a couple other things, but the reason I'm coming to you now, vlog style again, is just to give my quick thoughts about what's going on with The Interview, the Seth Rogen and James Franco comedy about them attempting to assassinate Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea. And I mean, just in the last hour, it's now been announced that the film has been canceled. And there's been a lot of stuff leading up to this. You guys probably know a lot of the story with the hack on Sony Pictures, and, Sony Entertainment, and all the leaked emails and, potential compromising of personal information from celebrities and whatnot, and just all sorts of things, trying to bring it down PSN and stuff again, which I think has happened a couple times. Can't even keep track anymore. I don't even know. So that all happened now in the last couple of weeks, and it slowly was starting to come out that it seemed like the main purpose of these hacks was to try to stop the release of the movie The Interview, which is set to release on Christmas Day this year. I don't know if it's just North America, if it's supposed to be worldwide, I don't know. But that was the plan. And now in the last couple of days, the threats got real serious, and the threats were saying you're going to be invoking a 911 kind of massacre. People going to movie theaters won't be safe. We're threatening physical violence and terrorism violence and horrible things, And I mean, the big question is, if these are serious or not, and there's never any way to tell. Is this someone from North Korea or, a division or somebody working with or for the government of that country doing this? Or is this just one of these stupid hacking terrorist groups that exist on the internet now, just trying to, be a bunch of dicks, stop a movie release, or just kind of be a pain in the butt because they maybe don't like Sony, or ex-Sony employees who are doing this, and which of course would mean that probably the physical violence threats aren't real. But, anyway, that's what happened. And earlier today, it started to come out that major movie theater chains like Cinemark, Regal, AMC weren't going to now be releasing the movie because they were worried about the potential threats being real, I mean, whether or not they may seem silly to you or I or anyone who just sits at our computers and reads these news stories, the people who are in charge of making these business decisions, they have to consider them as potentially real. They can't just sweep this under the rug and say, oh, whatever, I don't really care about it. Too bad, so sad, I mean, there's another side of the argument, too, which I'll get to in a minute, but that's kind of what that is. And so, the theater chains and their executives are saying, well, we're not going to release the film on Christmas Day now because of these threats that are happening. And within a couple of hours, Sony ended up making a public statement saying, hey, well, at this point, with all of these, theater chains and all these people saying they're not going to release the film, they're going to choose not to air it, to show it, we're just going to cancel it outright. They're canceling the theatrical release of The Interview. And that sucks. That sucks because it's one of the few comedies I really wanted to see. And I am not a comedy guy. It's not really my genre of choice. I don't love it. And so that was a movie that I really did want to see. I thought it looked really clever and really funny. And I like Seth Rogen and James Franco a lot. And I just thought it looked like a good movie. So that was one I wanted to see. So I really think that sucks for that reason. And it does also suck because it is potentially setting a precedence that anyone who might not like a movie can make a threat and maybe this movie won't get released. And then that's going to spread to video games, of course, and that could spread to music and books and who knows. I mean, there's a lot potentially at stake at this, and I don't necessarily think it was the best thing to do, but at the same time, I don't think it was wrong. So my ultimate feelings are, even though I think it sucks, and maybe they could have still probably stuck to their guns and found a way to say, we're not going to let you scare us, and, you know, the freedom of speech and stuff is important. At the same time, like I was alluding to a minute ago, when it comes to these theater chains and Sony, like, it would be irresponsible of them to not listen. I mean, to flat out ignore and deny these threats. I mean, that would be irresponsible, because what if something actually did happen? And, I mean, we can't forget the fact that there's already a precedence for movie theater violence. I mean, I've talked about this a couple times. I live in Denver, and I was at a theater not 20 minutes away from the theater where the Batman shooting happened. That was local. That was right 20 minutes from the outside of that front door is where that happened. And that was a big deal. And that affected the whole country, let alone here where I live and all my group of friends and everyone who lives in this area. So, you know, once that kind of thing happens, and then this violence is threatened again, you start to kind of hit a slippery slope of how serious can you take this. And if you don't know, you don't know. I don't know. I mean, my whole thing is, yes, I want them to still release the movie, but I simply cannot be mad at them or blame them for taking some validity to these threats and saying, you know, let's do the safest, best thing possible. You know, and when you get to Sony specifically, I think the thing that you can't forget is they only decided to do this once the majority of the major theatrical chains decided they weren't going to release it. I mean, at that point, that's like 95% of the American viewing audience who would have had a chance to see this movie. Once you remove those three major chains, I mean, think of the movie theater you go to, wherever you are. It is incredibly likely in North America that it's probably one of those three, I would think. And there's even others that have joined the fray. So at this point, Sony saying they were going to cancel it really isn't affecting what was already being put in place by the movie theater chains. I think that they just decided to say, well, at that point, why even send out any copies to any theater if we're only going to send out 5% of our initial run of, you know, 3,000 to 3,500, I would assume, something like that. You know, so it's a domino effect, really, and some people want to get mad at Sony, and that's kind of why I decided to talk about this. Is people are mad at Sony because they're the ones that ultimately have the final say in saying the film is canceled. But again, it's reactionary to A, the threats at first, and B, the fact that the theater chains have decided not to show the movie. So their hand was kind of forced. I mean, there just would have been no purpose. So now they're talking about considering some sort of, you know, video on demand release or something. I'm sure they'll find a way to get it out. I hope they can just release it on Blu-ray. I would just go buy it at this point, just to support the movie. And you know, it's a $40 million investment for them that is going to hit them pretty hard. And we all know that Sony is struggling as is, and this sucks. So, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, were these probably not real threats? Yeah, they probably weren't. But who knows, man? You or I, we're not in the positions to have to make these decisions. And I guarantee if you were somehow forced to make a decision that could either be potentially endangering innocent people or preventing them from getting injured, you would be thinking about it pretty hard. And I don't think it's right to just straight up crucify Sony or these movie theaters for doing this. I do think there is a level of it being wrong, like I said, you know, in conclusion, and it does potentially set the precedence of we're afraid and you can boss people around and shut free speech up, and that sucks. That is wrong. But I don't really know what the right answer is here. So that's the thing is, you know, and I'm lucky because I don't have to know. I'm just a consumer, man. I just consume the products that are created for me, just like you guys do, and so I'm not, you know, I'm blessed in the fact that I don't get to make these decisions. And that's why I personally, just me, I can't be mad at Sony or the theater chains for doing what they did, because it could have, for all we know, was the right thing. What if it was the right thing to do? For anyone who's mad at these people for deciding to cancel this movie because of American freedom and this and that, you know, like, what if it was right? What if they released it and it turns out something did happen? I mean, can you imagine? What if it happened in the movie theater you would have gone to? Again, at the end of the day, it's probably not likely. I get that. But just what if? You just don't know until you know. And why take the chance? So it's a really tough situation, a slippery slope, like I said. There is no right answer, I don't think. except to be mad at the people who did this. Whether it's the real people and whether it really would be North Korea, which it probably wouldn't be, but if it is North Korea, or if it's some shitty hackers, or if it's ex-Sony employees, or just teenagers in their basement with too much time and computers in their hands, I don't know. But those are the people we should be mad at. You should be mad at them. They're who I'm mad at. And I just hope that I get to see the interview at some time. So, I don't know. Not a typical video for Rule of Two Review, you know, but like I said, I'm trying to do more movie stuff going forward. Again, I'm in my just in my living room here, you know, not my normal vlog kind of location, and I don't know. But I thought this was important to talk about. I cared about it. I wanted to kind of share my thoughts, and I, of course, want to hear what you guys have to think about it. A lot of people are talking about it right now. It's the hot topic on the internet now the last hour. Pretty viral story, so I definitely want to hear what you guys have to think, but this is what I think, and yeah, so like I said, I'm getting to other, you know, gaming-related videos and stuff soon, too, and I want to talk about The Hobbit pretty soon as well. I'm hoping in the next couple days I get my top 10, my 10 most excited games for 2015 up, because that's going to be a really fun list to do, so. Anyway, I think that's it. You know, like I said, please share your guys' thoughts. I really want to know what you think about this, and I know a lot of people are mad at Sony, and if you are, that's fine. Just, you know, defend the idea, you know, talk about why you think that's true down below. So thanks for watching, and hopefully we get to see the interview at some time, and I'll catch you on another regular video for Rule of Two Review.